There we go. Whoops. Okay. Almost forgot to turn off my notifications. My do not disturb. Like, uh-oh. We'll just give it a few minutes. Hey, one person in here. Hey, Arizona Desert Walker. Yeah, I'm coming on a little early today, a lot early actually, because of the Artemis 2 landing that's going to come down in California this afternoon. So many of you might have to see it on the replay. Hey, Jane. Hey, Jade. Let me just set up the iPad really quick. There's not a lot to report today on Nancy Guthrie. So we're going to just talk about, there's several things that have come out the last couple days regarding the Duggars. And as much as I hate to talk about them, we're going to talk about them. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I saw you commenting on the replay last night, and I think you thought it was still live, but no, that was the replay. I know it's confusing. If you don't see the active chat below, then you know that you're watching it on the replay. It takes a couple days, a day or two for the chat to reload. So you'll be able to tell whether it's recorded and you're just replaying it or if it's live. But thanks for coming in anyhow, no matter how you guys are coming in. Welcome in. I am early today because I do have CNN on in the background. I've got the volume turned down so we don't get, dinged by the YouTube police for reused content. So they're going to come to California around 5. I'll start watching it, I guess, maybe around 4. A lot on the agenda today. And then there's a baseball game. Kelly says, I figured it partway through. My brain has been scrambled for the past couple of days. No problem. I get it. This is going to be a little bit about the Duggars. For you, those of you who could be new, so far I recognize all the people in the chat. I am April Davis, April Davis PI to be more specific. And it is Friday, April 10th. Yeah, 2 days before my big day. I think the only thing I'm going to be doing for my big day is coming on live with you guys. I still don't have a commitment either way, yay or nay, from the Thai family yet. Their life is pretty crazy right now with the new baby and the work schedules. So it may just be us chickens, as my old nanny used to say, just us chickens on Sunday. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Duggars. And I don't like to talk about them very much, just because of the topics that are involved, especially with the male Duggars. 8 more days for Jay, and then we'll have her special day. Let's see. I haven't had time to watch much YouTube like other channels since I started these Nancy Guthrie live streams regarding her abduction. So I used to watch occasionally when I had time without a crystal ball. I also read a lot of the New York Post and People Magazine, and I haven't read any of the trash magazines lately. Uh, you are my neighbor. Where are you? You are a gigolo boy. Uh-oh. Now you got to keep it clean in here. Sarap! Oh gosh, Kelly, have you met Sarap yet? Say hello to him if you haven't. Have all of you met Sarap? Thank you so much. This is unbelievable. No need to. Boy, we're going to get to 10 pretty quickly here. Hey, Truffles, welcome in. I know. Listen, and it's coming from Israel, from Tel Aviv. Well, this is certainly going to help when I finally get that first check in May. I'm trying to heart it on the iPad so I don't shake the camera, but there's a little there's another heart that's in the way that I can't seem to get around. Wow, we're up to 580 already. Oh, now we're up to 1169 American. Oh my God. Kelly, that goes by so quick, like a half a second. If I hadn't seen the message that said Kelly Ray sent sparkles, I wouldn't have looked up and seen it. Sarah. Oh my gosh. Well, when this like the super chat train is over, we're going to talk about the Duggars. My bunny, her ears are like this right now. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But she's not asleep right now. She's eating some hay. I've lost track already. Is there anybody in here? Do we have any mods in here right now? Like, oh, okay. The goal says 8 out of 10. Kelly, you're number 9. This is crazy. Sarah, Sarah. Oh my God, the confetti. I've only ever seen that like probably 3 times on my channel. Now, I have no idea, Kelly, how much that sparkle is worth because it doesn't, it just says Kelly Ray 1881 sent a sparkle. And then I looked up and it was just like leaving the screen. And then the little counter at the top next to the ruby says 1. So was that 1 jewel? I know, Jay. I know. I got the train. Look at that. Well, I'm on the phone, so it's like 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see 5 of them. They disappear. You know what? They disappear on the vertical lives fairly quickly. I think on horizontal lives, the train, the little train cars. If you see what I'm talking about, it looks like train cars that are hooked together. Oh my God. I'm only like 7 minutes into this and we've met the goal. Jeez Louise. Okay, let's get to it. The Duggars. Everybody, 15 people watching, hit that thumbs up button. Or as they commonly say, smash that like button. I don't like to talk about this very much because it's a very tough subject. You didn't ruin the evening. You're the show now, Sarah. Oh my God, that's awesome. I got the train. I don't know who you're talking to, Salome. Smash. Thank you, Jay. Hope to see you again soon, Sarah. You know, you can stay and watch the show. You don't have to just come in and give a super chat. Oh, and we are going to start this about the Duggars, but since this is going, let me just mention that I know my mod Trisha, she's not in here, but she suggested the night before last that I set up an Amazon wish list. I'm still having one issue with it, but it is set up. And last night, after I closed out my show, somebody actually bought a gift for me from the Amazon wish list. It's linked in the channel description. Thank you so much. I know from past donations that she wishes not to have her name called out, and I also received a Venmo from the same person who wishes to remain anonymous. She doesn't want to be shouted out. So thank you for the Venmo. It's very welcome, and thank you for my very first Amazon wish list gift. I didn't think that anybody would even like donate to that. So when I get all this, it'll be going to my business box because depending on if it was bought through FBA or FBM, it could end up showing my home address to the whole world. And so I'll have to pick it up. I won't know like when it arrives. So I go there like every 7 to 10 days. And then we'll just, with the baseball mail, the birthday mail. Well, I've only got one birthday mail so far, but, and whatever comes in through the Amazon wish list, we'll we'll do a video on it, or I'll mention it here. Not sure how I'm going to do that yet. Okay, here we go. Let's get it going now. Okay, Salome, I got to take you out. You're distracting to the chat. Okay, see ya. Okay, bye-bye, Salome. Okay, like I said, I don't like to talk about this a lot. Hey, Sue Brock Schmidt, welcome in. God, you missed the action, and all the action happened in the first 7 minutes. You'll have to see that on the replay. Okay, the big story, of course, is Joseph Duggar. He is out on bond right now from Florida, from Bay County. I don't know what the status of his lesser crimes are in Arkansas. I know that his wife had to post a small bail. Mrs. Duggar or Michelle Duggar posted it for, but she has had her kids removed from her custody. But yet the court in Florida says Joseph can see the kids while under supervision. But that's kind of hard to do when the court in Arkansas says that the wife can't see the kids. And they never had a hearing yet on Joseph because he had to go on the extradition to Florida on the slow bus to Panama City Beach. So that they still haven't got back to that yet. Like, well, what about the charges in Arkansas against Joseph? Because apparently, besides the child endangerment and the rumor that they put locks on the outside of the doors, they're now saying it's rumored that these kids were living in squalor. They were living in filth. You know, I've never been in the house, so I can't say for sure. The trial, the hearings haven't happened yet. Uh, Also, I'm hearing that they're not in the care of the Duggars or the Caldwells. In other words, the grandparents on either side. They are in the care of foster care. And apparently, two of the eldest children that should really be kindergarten and first grade age kids, they have never been, not only have they never been in school, public or private, but their homeschooling is just for the very basic needs, like almost like the basic needs that you would treat or teach to a handicapped child, like, how to use the restroom, how to put on your clothes, how to tie your shoes. Uh, I don't know what their curriculum is, but they don't have any homeschooling that would match what a first grader should have or what a kindergartner should have. So apparently, their kids, the ones that are old enough to be in school, they're already cognitively very behind kids of their own or similar age because they've never been to school and they allegedly, Kendra has not taught them what level they should be at. They're at a level that you would teach for preschool. And yes, it is criminal, Kelly. Preschool is typically 3. When I was a child, age 4 to 5 was considered nursery school. That's what they called it. That's how old I am. Yeah, older than dirt. They called it nursery school. Now, nursery school, that's a term from, like the 70s. It's now called pre-K. But pre-K is not the same thing as preschool because preschool is like 3. Some kids are in it as young as 2 now, which I think is way too young. But, I don't know. It's a different world today. And then nursery or pre-K is 4 to 5. And then kindergarten for me was age 5 to 6. I turned 6 in kindergarten. So I don't know how old these kids are. It's a boy and a girl. And apparently they have never been to school and they're living in a house that's filthy. And they have locks on the outside of their bedroom doors, which apparently is a very common thing in the Duggar household. As far as some of the Duggar, I'm not saying the parents who had the girls lock themselves in at night so they wouldn't be SA'd by the brothers, but some of their grown children who are now married and have kids, apparently quite a few of them have locks on the outside of the doors. And all the Duggar kids, that have kids now, they're scrambling to reverse the locks or buy new ones. A lot of them, or some of them, including Joanna Duggar, who is married to Austin Forsyth, and they've been very close to Kendra and Joseph. They've taken down, or she has taken down, her YouTube channel. I still haven't checked that, but I don't know if the channel's gone or just some of the videos are gone. Um, I could read before school and taught my kids to read before school. Very good, Jay. Let's see. Who have I missed? I must have missed somebody. I see ADW. Oh, Kelly says, hi, ADW. I do not see an ADW on my screen. I am not in front of the computer. I am on the vertical live on the cell phone, and I have the iPad in front of me. So let me adjust this little settings button and see if that helps, because I do not have. And thank you, Kelly, for welcoming them in, because uh, your girl Jasmine, I miss you. Oh, ADW, Arizona Desert Walker. Yeah, okay, I got you. I'm like, who's ADW? Um, thank you. In case I missed somebody, Abby. Thank you. This was gifted to me by a woman in the Hollywood Hills as part of the one of the neighborhood apps I'm involved in. So it's a Disney app. Done a lot of work for Disney, but Disney didn't give it to me. So yeah, so these kids were apparently living in squalor, living in filth, um, locks on the outside of the doors, the oldest two children not being sent to school. Things are so bad because the wife is so supportive of Joseph while he was behind bars in Arizona and Florida, that the I guess what is it called there? We call it Department of Child Services. Every county or every state has a different name for it, but whoever handles the Child Protective Services, it could be CPS in their state. They are not happy that she is in constant contact with her husband to see if he's okay while he's behind bars. Are you okay, honey? You know, because they were allowed to call each other. Like, I guess she could call him twice a day while he was in prison, or not prison, he was in jail, in county jail in Arkansas. And then while he was being temporarily, after he was extradited, he just was in the Bay County system in Florida for just a matter of hours, because, I guess they were already arranging his $600,000 bail, and then he and daddy flew home. Now, I've heard that daddy paid the bail. I've also heard that the wife is like selling their property, and she's doing basically the same thing that Anna Duggar did when Joshi was in trouble, and they're very quickly switching around assets, where different names are, you know, the husband's names being taken off of things because they can probably smell a lawsuit coming, especially since, she kicked her own parents out of their home. They're in the process of having no place to live again, her parents. And can you imagine, you give your parents a home and your siblings a home, and then you're like, hey, get the F out of here, because we need the assets, because, hubby's in jail. Now, the big story about that, though, is, remember when this first happened and everybody was so upset? Even that caught me off guard, because I was like, oh, Joseph, he's supposed to be one of the good boys, right? Well, apparently now they're saying that this goes back to his teen years, and that not only has he done this before, and there could be multiple victims, but the entire Duggar family, including the daughters, some of which have come out and say, "Oh, I can't even speak, and I'm so shocked, and I'm so disappointed." Apparently, this is no secret in the family, because it doesn't just involve Joshua Duggar and now Joseph Duggar. But if you watched me yesterday when I did a live on Nancy Guthrie, I believe that was day 68's video, I also mentioned that three of the other boys, who are possibly Jeremiah, Josiah, and Jason, may have been in trouble. Um, what the heck is going on with the Duggar boys? I know that when they lived in the house before they built the big house, Jim Bob slept in the bedroom with the boys, and the mother slept in a recliner, because I guess they didn't have enough bedrooms for the parents to have a room. How did they make all those babies if they didn't have their own space and they never send the kids to school? You got all those kids. How are you making babies in that little house that Josh and Anna lived in, when there's not even enough bedrooms for the parents to have a bed? Like, Dad's sleeping in a sleeping bag, on the floor with the boys. And, I know that his father is an alleged, uh, I don't know if I can say it. Let's just say he may be known for SA as well. And that's why cousin Amy Duggar was never allowed to be alone with her grandfather. So that's Jim Bob's dad apparently had issues. Um, and it's a well-known thing, even though the Duggars do everything to cover up their indiscretions or their crimes. Let's call it what it is, crimes. The Duggar boys, between the ages of 15 and 17, apparently they go to something called Alert Academy. Now, I'm sure if you watch Katie Joyce, she could explain this to you, what this is, this Alert Academy. It has something to do with the IBLP church. It's like a paramilitary program, and your boys are sent there. And apparently all the Duggar boys went there, with the exception of two. And there's a lot of boys in that family. Does anybody know, out of the 19, how many girls, how many boys? Because the boys were sent to Alert Academy, and that is where you apologize for your sins, because they don't call these crimes. They call, oh, I'm missing a lot of the chat. They call them sins. Okay. Now remember, Josh, he was sent away for 90 days with the church to go build a barn. That was his SA rehab when he, um, was it's been since reported that he abused 5 or 6 girls, 4 of which was a sister, or 4 of which were sisters. Um, One was a cousin, or not a cousin, a babysitter. The cousin said it wasn't her, but there may have been a 6th victim, and he was never charged for that. Those police reports were hidden. Sounds like somebody in Arkansas got paid off, because he never faced even juvie crimes or juvie charges for those. But this kid Joseph, which everybody said was the good Duggar, not only did he admit to his father-in-law and gave a recorded interview to the Town police detective that he did these deeds against a 9-year-old girl who is believed to be his own sister-in-law, who is now 14. But there's apparently more than one victim. It's been going on since he was a teenager. Uh, the Duggars, the parents, sent him and most of the other boys to this Alert Academy, which he then came home and they described him as being on fire for God. What does that mean? You're on fire for God. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? However, he was not cured, is what they're saying. 10 boys and 9 girls, says Sue and Kelly. Thank you. Time is an issue with lawsuit too. You think going to be sued, you can't just sell your stuff and say, have nothing. Yes, yes. Even when elderly people get sick, and I know this happened to someone in the state of Alabama where their mother had a stroke, and the daughter was trying to take her name off the house, and they're like, oh, no, 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 you can't do that just because she's sick. Because the nursing home was going to cost, tens of thousands of dollars a month. And so, yeah, you can't, in most states, you can't just rearrange assets because somebody got sick or somebody's committed a crime. There is a time frame in most states, you can't just switch around your assets and quit claim deed your house over to someone to say, see, I don't have any money. Or you just, take everything out of your bank account and put it in a relative's bank account. That doesn't count, usually for the first 2 years, since whatever alleged crime or indiscretion occurred. So now they're saying that when Joe went to this Alert Academy, which is the paramilitary program by the IBLP, that is just so effed up, that in an effort to treat his sins of the heart, that's what they're calling it, he was sent to college in Tennessee, but he got in trouble there too. Now, what kind of trouble? I don't know. Oh, hi, Jet Set. Welcome in. I don't know what kind of trouble, but whatever it was, he had to leave school. Then he returned to the Duggar compound, never finished his degree, and pretended he was a changed man. In fact, his past sins, as they refer to these SA indiscretions or crimes, were part of his testimony when he spoke to other young men, probably other young men within the IBLP church. Yeah. Now, since this happened, remember even Ginger and Jeremy, and they live out here in LA. They don't live that far from me. In fact, when they lived, the first place they lived in was 10 minutes from me at most. And now they live up in the Santa Clarita area. Um, Remember, they came out and made a statement, and Jeremy did most of the speaking because they have a weekly podcast. And I don't know if it's weekly, but maybe every other week, every month. I'm not sure. I see it occasionally, but he did all the speaking, and she just said a little bit, and she just looked like, oh, I'm in such shock, and oh, this is, the Duggar parents were like, oh, we're so heartbroken. But this has been going on for years. And now we've got three other Duggar kids that are on the list of possible essayers. Not saying they're guilty, not saying they did anything, but the names that are floating around out there are Jeremiah Duggar, Josiah Duggar, and Jason Duggar. Now, I don't follow these people like, Katie Joy, but I have seen a lot of their shows and I listen to some of the podcasts. I'll see them pop up on Instagram. And remember, Josiah, who is now married, and I believe he even has a child by now, apparently he was the Duggar that was rumored to have been sent um, to conversion therapy. Because, and this may not be an actual fact, but it was believed for years that Josiah and at least one of the other Duggars, one of the girls, um, may have been involved in the LGBTQ plus community, which, hey, that's fine here. Everybody here is welcome. Um, but he was sent to conversion school. And then all of a sudden he was in an arranged married, and, they're not allowed to use birth control. So they very quickly had their first child. So, um, you know, even Josiah, like, what have these children been through? 26 people watching, 17 thumbs up, smash the like button. Has anybody, I was away from the screen for a moment, has anybody sent any red hearts? If you can do so, that'll boost the algorithm. Let's see, what have I missed? Yeah, Jet Set. I do have a few other videos on this. I don't know if you like watch their shows or read their books, or they're very active on social media, especially after they lost all their TV shows. And they can't put them back on even in syndication and reruns. They've lost all their residuals or their royalties, so they've had to resort to. Some of the girls have resorted to writing books, starting YouTube channels, having podcasts. Because remember, the girls are not allowed to be educated in any shape or form or go to any type of trade school. It's the boys that are supposed to be educated. You're also, if you are in the IBLP or you're in the Duggar family, you're not supposed to be employed by anybody because that's like a peasant. You're supposed to have your own business, even if it's, some rinkety dink used car dealership on the corner. That was gifted to the eldest child. And that's where many of his, not alleged, but um, crimes that he was convicted of occurred. Um, I hope they all have to get real jobs. Well, remember, we all said that about Anna when Josh went to prison and then he was transferred to a prison out of state in Texas, Seagoville, I believe it's called. And everybody was waiting for Anna to get a job, but she was living like in a metal warehouse or something that's on one of Jim Bob's properties. And now she's in the puppy business. So I don't know if she's just, breeding a couple dogs or she started a puppy mill. And for me, that's criminal behavior. Um, start a dog rescue. If you're into puppies, start a dog rescue, start a bunny rescue, a cat rescue, a bird rescue. But she started a puppy business. And, I don't like to call people stupid, but I think if you were to give that woman an IQ test, um, it might not even register. I don't know if she could even get through the test and answer all the questions. Um, and she is very obedient to her master. And it sounds like the same behavior is happening between Kendra and Joseph. Yes, sir. Whatever you say. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Oh, we're not talking politics here today, James. I mean, I don't like them either, but we don't talk politics here. So we're talking about the Duggar family today. Jet set. I agree. When people are stupid, I like to say that their IQ test came back negative. Hey, Lorraine McMillan, welcome back in. Uh, Jet set says, for me, that kind of belief is all messed up. What, the IBLP? Oh, Jet Set says, I haven't watched their shows in years and years. I haven't either. They haven't been on the air in years and years. Oh, I missed this, Kelly. I stepped away trying to figure out Amazon gifts. You know, if anybody here has Amazon gifts, well, actually, mine's not gifts. It's a wish list, which is different than Amazon gifts and Amazon registry. Because with gifts, it has to be from a particular, here's the items you can choose from, none of which I need, like home decor and just do it yourself, and here's this art or this painting, or but for wish lists you can go and pick any item that you want, and I wanted to be able to put the lowest amount of gift card on there, but it's only letting me start at 10, and I can't raise it or lower it, and it only can be a physical card. On a registry it can be an e-card, but on a wish list it's only physical. So I've got it up there, and that's why it looks like it looks. So eh, nobody go on there and purchase it. But if anybody can figure that out, you know, I didn't know that I could even do that. It was Trisha's idea. Trisha's been a lifesaver on this channel. I know she's probably not here right now because it's a little early for her. But thank you, Trisha, because I took your advice. I created that the night before last, and then modified it yesterday morning. And by the time I did my show last night, and I closed out my show, I immediately charged my mics, go over to my computer because you have to return on the monetization for the live that just closed out, because then your rewatches or your replays, they don't count unless you go through and you check these little boxes and you turn it back on and say that it's okay for it to be monetized as a replay. Right when I did that, I got an email, and I don't know if it had come during the show or it came after the show, but I got an email saying someone has purchased from your Amazon wish list. And I was like, what? Like, are you kidding? And I will show you when I get it. And it's, I have to take the home address out, because if it's a third party delivery rather than an Amazon Prime delivery, which is called FBM, which means fulfilled by merchant rather than fulfilled by Amazon. I know a little bit about this because I did some FBA and FBM while I was recovering from cancer. And if it's an FBM item fulfilled by merchant, which means a third party, then they advertise your home address to the entire internet, which is like a billion people. And because of what I've done for a living, I don't want my home address floating around out there. So I will have to go pay, like, pick up fees over there, but it's only like a buck or two. And I made sure that I didn't put anything large on that list, so I don't have to pay like, $3 or $4 to pick it up. Uh, but I don't get to that box every day, not even every week. So next time I do a box run, anything that comes from that wish list, I'll pick it up and I'll mention it in a future video. Let's see. I love that comment. That's why I know I read this before, but I'm gonna read it again. When people are stupid, I like to say their IQ test came back negative. Yeah, I don't think she could even get through one. I'm sorry, and I just, you know, it's so sad to see that what the religion has done to these girls, that they can't do anything on their own. I mean, some of the Duggar girls, they have YouTube channels, they've written books, um, they've been on bestseller lists. Um, these Duggar girls are not that stupid, but this I just don't even want to be mean, because I'm not a mean person, but you know, if you like puppies, if you're watching this, Anna Duggar, get rid of the puppy breeding business and go open up a dog rescue. If that's your thing, dogs, there's dog rescues, there's cat rescues, there's bird rescues. Those are very important. Turtle rescues. You know how many turtles are suffering in like little dirty bacteria filled tanks in people's living rooms? Like, go do a turtle rescue, a dog rescue, a cat rescue, a rabbit rescue. You know, um, I don't know. Just, I know you got 7 kids to take care of, but don't be breeding dogs and selling puppies. Uh, Wish list is what she meant. Okay, yeah, because there's the Amazon wish list, Kelly. There's a gift list, which is separate, and then there's a registry, and they all work completely different. And I was advised to set up the wish list, and then people can send gifts through that list. But I don't want someone who doesn't have Prime to have to pay for shipping on a physical gift card. And I would like them to be able to choose an amount, whether it's, $5 or $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they go that high, but you know what I mean? So I'll have to ask Trisha about that when she comes in here. Uh, just pick actual items rather than cards. No, they cards are highly gifted items because they're easy to send. Sue Brock says it is important for everyone to have job skills. Absolutely. How many children in that family? Well, there's 19 kids by Michelle and Jim Bob. But does anybody know? Oh, thank you for answering that, Jay. Didn't even see that. Yeah, 19 kids and 2 adults now, but how many grandkids? Does anybody know the current count on the Duggar grandchildren? Wish list is what I've used before. Yeah, and with wish list, you can pick anything. Like you're going to go buy an item, but instead of buying it or putting it in your cart, there's another tab where I can click something and a little uh another column will pop up and I can click add it to the wish list rather than add it to my cart or add it to my purchases. 40 some? Really? Already? Wow. Dang. They're going to be bigger than the dang Osmond family. I mean, that's because correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Mormons don't allow birth control either, the Mormon church. And I know that the Duggars are not Mormons, they're members of the IBLP, which I believe is a Christian fundamentalist religious sect. 33, says Sue Brock. Wow. Yeah, they're having, how do you keep track of all the birthdays? Or even you have that many kids, you wouldn't even know who they all are. Like when they walk through the door, like, who's that? Like, you've got you and your, Michelle and her husband, Jim Bob, 19 kids, plus, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, cousins, you know, 33 grandkids. And Jay says 40 some. My God. And because they started young, they might live long enough, assuming they're in good health. They might live long enough to see great grandkids. That's the church that the Duggars belong to. I do love Donnie too, Jay. I do love him. There's a family I watch in Alaska. I've mentioned them before, and they're devout Mormons. And I just wanted to see their channel because of where they were located in Alaska. And I don't agree with their religion, but they were born into it, and their parents were probably born into it, and they didn't have a choice, and their kids don't have choices. But well, they do have a choice because they're adults. What's going to happen when one or more of their kids is on the LGBTQ plus spectrum, and you don't just get? It's not like a train ticket. You let's get on the LGBTQ train. No, like you're born that way. So if any of their kids are born that way, what are they going to choose? Are they going to choose their kids or the church? Because the Duggars, um, if your children are like that, they go to conversion therapy. Um, Yeah, Marie had 2, but one of them did, unalive himself in downtown LA. He also had a drug issue. That was Michael. Oh, thanks for answering that, Sue. Institute of Basic Life Principles. That's what the IBLP stands for. I couldn't think of it right now. YouTube is hard. Now, one of the girls, it will show my age, but I love Marie's song, Meet Me in Montana. I don't know that one. All I remember was when I was really little, she did Paper Roses. Let's see. Let's just bring up another Duggar. Oh, do you remember that, Jay? Paper Roses? Yeah, you're not, well, let's just say we're around the same age. Derek and Jill Duggar are in the news this week. Oh, I don't remember that. I remember that as a little kid. Like, anybody, when did that come out? Marie Osmond's Paper Roses. Let me know. You had the album? Oh, I didn't have any of the Osmond albums, but I remember hearing that song a lot. But the town I lived in when I was little only had like one like FM radio station, so they played a little bit of everything. Derek and Jill, that's an interesting couple. Remember then Derek was on that mission? Where was it? Like Kathmandu? Where was he? Bangladesh? Not India, but what country did he go for his mission? And they started talking on the internet. So Daddy Duggar had to escort her to the other side of the world so they could, she could meet the man of her dreams, but he had to be with them. They weren't allowed to, be together. Um, do you have to be gifted the first month? Or no, you just go to the main channel page and click membership tab. And you can pick which level you want to be in. So far, I only have the first two. Meet Me in Montana, a duet by Marie Osmond and Dan Seals, was released in 1985. Oh, I know who Dan Seals is. Sue Brooks says, I have 2 of 3 kids that are gay. It was shocking. We love them as they are. Absolutely. Being Catholic, I worry about their souls. It is very difficult because of what I was taught. Yeah, but you do love them, and you have to, or you don't have to, but you should choose to accept them. Derek was in Nepal. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and that's where Jim Bob, Daddy Duggar, took little Jill, and they went and met him. And he was also, when he came back from that mission, he was in college and he graduated with a CPA, or he graduated with an accounting degree and took the test in Arkansas. And he briefly went to work for Walmart because their headquarters is, by the way, in Arkansas. That's owned by the Walton family, and thus called Walmart. I don't know if you guys knew that. Walmart's not like really big, like in the city here in LA. It's more on the outskirts, although there is one in Burbank. But Derek went to work for Walmart, and it wasn't really his thing. And before he went to law school and then became a lawyer, him and Jill went on a mission. Maybe somebody here who knows more about this than me. Oh, good night, Jane. People that know more about this than me would remember that they went on a mission, and I think it was El Salvador. It could have been Guatemala, but I think it was El Salvador. And they were asking fans and church members, but like their internet fans, they're following because they're influencers now. Most of these Duggars are influencers now. They were asking for donations to be sent to them for this mission that was out of the country, and they were going with their church, and they were going to go on a mission and help the poor. Because remember, Derek had done this before in Nepal, but now Derek was married to Jill, and before they had their children, they went on a mission. But while all this money was being funneled to them, to their bank accounts, they found out that it became public that they were actually had already returned to Arkansas. And they said, oh, well, we're on a vacation right now from our mission. We're just temporarily in Arkansas, but we plan to go back. We're just here for like the Christmas holidays well, when you're on a mission, it's like when you're a Mormon, you have to serve for 2 years. When you're on a mission, you're on a mission. You can't take a vacation from your friggin' mission and go home while your followers, your sheep, are sending you money so you can feed the poor in El Salvador, Guatemala, wherever the heck they were, somewhere in Central America with the poor. But they were really sitting in Arkansas, you know, at the big old Duggar house for Christmas. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I thought this Derek guy, you know, he's the one who went after Jim Bob for all these residuals. He not only came back from this mission, I don't think they ever went back. Maybe they did, but he then got a law degree. And the reason he got a law degree is so he could pick through all these television contracts that these kids had signed, because these kids, they never got paid. All the money that was made from TLC went into Jim Bob's pocket. Now, the Goslings, even though Kate Gosselin is like, she's a witch, I'm not being facetious here. I mean, she's like a psycho person. Please don't sue me, Kate Gosselin, but I just don't like your personality and how you treated your ex-husband and your children. And, there's something fucking wrong with you. Excuse my language. I should not have said that. I apologize, everybody. But she actually opened bank accounts so that the children's money went into individual bank accounts for them. Now, she did steal from the one son, Colin, that she threw into a mental hospital, and he couldn't get out for 3 years, and he had to scribble a help note with crayons, and another mental patient had to smuggle his note that was written in crayon to his father. And the father was like, I don't even know where my son is. He didn't know, supposedly. This is going a little off topic, but John Gosselin did not know that his son Colin had been put into a mental hospital in Pennsylvania. And they had to literally smuggle a piece of paper written in crayon to get help sent to, like a cry for help to, like, come get me out of here. And while he was in there, she did dip into his finances, apparently, to pay her expenses. Like, despicable people. When parents steal from their children, whether they're TV actors or they're models or they're doing commercials or they're doing movies, it's a crime. It literally is a crime, and it's morally and unethical. It's just bad. Yeah. I should have never said that, Southern mofo. Yeah, I know a lot about those kids, and it's very, very sad. But apparently, Jim Bob Duggar, he took everything from the kids. And, I hope I don't get demonetized on this, since I got like 10 donations today. Should I go off the air and come back on? Anyway, I get so upset when people steal from their kids, and that Colin, he's just suffered so much at the hands of his mother. No wonder he may have had discipline problems. Um, he was tied in a basement with a cord. Like, supposedly his bed was like, he was locked in a basement as a child, is what they're claiming. So allegedly he was locked in a basement, and then he was sent to a mental hospital. And while he was in, his mother, Kate Gosselin, allegedly stole all of his money, as did Jim Bob, to all these 19 kids. And Derek, who already has a CPA degree, so he's already got a college degree, he then just had to put in an extra 3 years and go to law school. And he graduated. And then he started picking through everything, saying, you owe us this, you owe us that. Now, did he and Jill ever sue Jim Bob? I'm not sure, but Jill was given the boot because her husband was starting to dig into the television contracts and the finances, and, hey, you owe us some money. Now, they may have gotten a small settlement in lieu of a lawsuit filed against Papa Duggar, Jim Bob Duggar, but that's why he was influenced to go to law school, because he wanted to fight and he had become a member of the show too. It wasn't just the kids. It was their future husbands were now in the show. And apparently they weren't getting paid either. And, they didn't know that all this stuff was going to come out on Josh. and that they weren't going to get their syndication money because the network would have to completely pull the show. Uh, Jace is so terrible about the Gosling kids too. I know. It's just I need to watch a documentary on this family. It's so confusing. So yeah, well now Derek, who is a CPA who briefly worked for Walmart, he is a lawyer, but does he actually work for a firm? I'm not sure because it seems like he doesn't stick with his occupations for very long. He has just within the last few days been sworn in as a U.S. Marine. So, hats off. Look at my hair. Hats off to you, sir. He is going to be able to avoid basic since he's already got a college degree and a law degree. He's going to be able to go straight to Quantico, but he's already sworn in. He just has to wait for his class to start. He's going to go to officers training school. His family, his wife and 3 sons are coming with him. And I don't know how he would already know what his duty's going to be since he hasn't even graduated OTS yet. You know, he just swore in like, was it yesterday or the day before? Looks like they came to the house and just said, "Okay, you're sworn in. Boom, done." There's pictures on the internet if you want to see that. But he is then going to be stationed. I'm not sure what he's going to do, but he will be an officer stationed in my home state, the state of Rhode Island. So, you know, kudos to Derek. I'm still suspicious about you guys when you went on that mission to Central America and everybody was sending you money, but you were really hanging out in Arkansas most of the time. A little sus of that. But they seem like they're a nice couple. They're raising their kids completely separate of uh, the IBLP, and she's allowed to wear pants and occasionally drink a glass of wine. Some of those Duggar girls, naughty, naughty, naughty. You're wearing pants now. You know? Oh my gosh. Um, I mean, this is just good for them. Good for them. If he's messed up, the Marines will straighten him up. Yeah, I don't know that he is messed up, because he's not actually a bio Duggar. He's just a Duggar by marriage. What did I miss here? Uh, oh, Kelly, I just saw that. Yeah, go take care of yourself, Kelly. Don't let your blood sugar tank like that. That can be extremely dangerous. I just saw that. Uh, we're not talking politics here, Mark Green. I think I'm where most people are, though. I'm somewhere in the middle. But I'm not a right-wing Republican, nor am I a left-wing Democrat. I'm in the middle. Exactly. Jay, thank you. We don't do politics here. And if you come back with another comment that's not relating to what we're talking about today, um, then we're going to have to time you out. Some of the rules are ridiculous. They think nothing of essay, but don't wear pants. I know! The irony of it, Sue. Oh my gosh. I wore a lot of pants when I was a kid once I got to public school because I had private school, nursery, kindergarten, and first through seventh, and I had to wear fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. I had to wear a uniform. And in the first grade, I was either in dresses, first, second, and third. I had to wear either dresses or what was called back then in the 70s a pantsuit, and I hated pantsuits. So now that I'm a grown woman, except for when I used to do security on set, I was told to wear jeans, which was extremely uncomfortable. At my age, I don't even own a pair of pants. I think I have some cargo, like Amazon pants in there, but I get too hot in them. I wear shorts or I wear skirts, but, nothing wrong with a girl wearing pants or a baseball cap. I have to do it because of my hair and my skin. I had a very prominent dermatologist that was like, "The sun is not your friend." And every time I would walk in, remember, the sun is not your friend. So, you know, I do everything but sleep in a hat. Um, we're talking about the Duggars. So yeah, that's the latest on the Duggar. So we've got the latest on Joseph and Kendra. We've got more information about that case that's pending on April 29th in the court in Arkansas with Kendra. I don't know about Joseph's date since he was in the Pokey in Florida. Does he have the same date as Kendra has for his alleged crimes in Arkansas in Washington County? We know now that there may be at least three more Duggar boys that are involved in the essays. We don't know how many victims there are with any of these kids. Remember, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. The only person that has faced any justice at all was Joshua Duggar. But remember, he never paid for the crimes or alleged crimes against his sister. He only was convicted of the crimes involving the internet. Um, yeah, I don't know if you guys heard that. My bunny just did a loud thump. Are you okay? I didn't hear any strange noises. I'm like, oh my God, are we going to have an earthquake? Or she just did a really loud thump. Maybe she was having a dream. Yep, the Duggars today, Mark. Oh, that's an interesting username, official. I think I've seen you before. Sue says, I used to be so glamorous. Now that I have chronic illness, all I wear is stretchy pants and t shirts. Oh, well, I'm 65 years old. Yeah, I'm chronically ill myself. So I'm in a, well, and it's so hot in LA. Like, we don't really have our seasons much anymore. So, yeah, like I'm in a pair of jean shorts right now and I'm missing a button on my Warner shirt. Remember, I mentioned that, my Thai family, the mom, she sews the buttons for me. I handle the administrative paperwork stuff for them, and, she'll come over and cook and sew my buttons. Yeah, Jay is chronically ill. I hope Kelly's okay because I just saw that I had missed that message that she had to go take care of her blood sugar. I hope she's gonna eat something and it can recover quickly. That's the problem with when you have sugar issues. It's either too low or it's too high. That's not something that's easy to live with. That's one of the issues that, out of all the health issues that I have, that's one of them that I don't have. Knock on wood. And I've got better turn that down because I don't want to get like. Well, I'm probably already in trouble because I did say a naughty word today, and to all my audience who's still here, I do apologize for that. But sometimes I just, I get on a, you know, like a vent rage here, and I'm just like, ah, those fucking effing people, I'm sorry. Um, Now, if I were in Canada and I was on a television show, or if I was in the UK, I could say way worse than that, and the censors wouldn't even like get me. But I do apologize. I'm trying to be a lot more careful about that because I know some people are highly offended by that. In my family, it didn't matter. Um, but it's sometimes it's considered classless by some, so I apologize. Let's see. I'm just seeing if I missed anything in the chat. So yeah, like that was I didn't have anything to report today on Nancy. One of the regular viewers that comes in here under like three or four different usernames said that there was some breaking news and that they were getting ready to make an arrest, but I haven't heard anything to that effect. I mean, I hope it's true, but I haven't heard anything about that, that something's getting ready to break. Rita Close says, if I'm not going anywhere, I wear my PJs all day. You know what? I don't even own a pair of PJs anymore, Rita. It's just like a t shirt and a pair of underwear. Jet Set says, I hear you, Rita. The more I stay home, the more I look homeless. Yeah, I remember it being, in the working world and, taking my morning shower, unless I had to leave on like 4 a.m. surveillance, taking my morning shower and then taking, like a bath at night or a shower at night, but, washing at least twice a day. And now at this age, with everything that's happened, it's like, did I take my shower today? Oh, well, maybe today I could just do a sponge bath. I'll just fill up the sink with hot water and a really good soap and, you know, I'll use a clean wash rag and that'll be my bath for today. But no, I do bathe. But it's not like, twice or even 3 times a day, like when I was, working, and then I would come home and have to change my clothes and be like, "Oh, I better shower, before I put on my fresh clothes." And, then at night, "Well, let's relax in a hot bath," or, uh, yeah. So sometimes I'm like, "Oh god," I don't wanna look or smell like a homeless person. Ah, Sue Brock says, "Diabetes is pretty difficult. I don't have that at least." Yeah, be thankful for that. I know when especially when I had cancer and then before I was diagnosed, um, taking a shower was almost impossible. And then with the treatment, I mean, it can be dangerous. And you have to realize as a detective, um, I had a big case several years ago, and I can't go into the details, but somebody was found deceased in a bathtub. And that case just really got me. And then after that case, a very famous singer, um, and I'm not going to name her either, but she was found deceased in London in a bathtub. And then a few years later, someone that I knew personally had an unexpected death and was, without going into the details, was found in a bathtub, not taking a bath at the time or a shower. But um, so with all my health issues, I just take a really quick shower, or I just make sure that there's just a very little bit of water in the tub, and I just do it really quick. And I don't know, I just mentally, it's like, oh, be careful of the bathtub, especially for older people or for people that have, you know, substance abuse issues. The bathroom can be the most deadly room in your home. People slip in the showers, hit their heads, and bleed to death, especially the elderly. Um, so true, Sue. After my 2 shoulder surgeries, I struggled so much. Yeah. But, somebody who is Kendra Duggar's age and Joseph Duggar's age that have young children, these children should be living in a clean home. And apparently that is something that may be brought up in the hearing, not just the alleged rumor about, well, it's not alleged, it is a rumor that the reason they got busted, both of them, while he was already on a hold for the charges in Florida that were pending until he got extradited, was because of child endangerment. Um, and it may have been more than just locks on the exterior doors, which is rumored to be the reason for the arrest, but apparently conditions may not have been sanitary. Um, oh wow, Jay says diabetes, 11 strokes, high blood pressure. You have a bath chair. That's a good idea. When I was having the chemo and the surgeries, my sister and I actually discussed that, and I was like, we almost like we're gonna order one, and I was like, no, let's not do it. But that's a very good idea. But at least you have your husband, Jay, so if something happens, he can pull you out, right? Like, I'm here alone. The cat and the bunny can't call 911. So for us that are getting older, be careful of the shower and be careful of the bathtub. And make sure that your sugar is not too high or too low. Same for your blood pressure. Your heart rate, your breathing, these are things that you don't even think about when you're in your 20s and your 30s. Those were the days, right? When you didn't have to take a whole bag full of prescriptions, you know, 2 to 3 times a day. Now I know I have an older crowd in here. Younger people would be like, "You know what? I don't wanna talk about stuff like this?" But a lot of people do wanna talk about the Duggars. I mean, it was such a successful show, as was, John and Kate, John and Kate plus 8, and then Kate plus 8. Those were pretty good shows. Yeah, I had it starting in my early 40s. So I feel like I've been on those meds forever, and they always have to be adjusted. And then after my heart rhythm problem started, because they think it may have been, they think that the chemo, the red devil chemo for breast cancer is what, you know, almost put the last nail in my coffin. So, yeah, don't be late, ladies, to your mammograms, because if your cancer is discovered as late as mine was, you're going to have much more stronger treatment than if it's caught early, and then you can have all these side effects. So if the cancer itself doesn't take you out, sometimes the treatment can. So the sooner you catch these conditions, the better. I have tachycardia and was diagnosed in my 60s. Yeah, me too. Uh, and I watch my friends, the ones that live out in the bush in Alaska, and I so worry about them because if they had to go to a hospital, they'd have to call 911 and they'd have to get a helicopter out there. And, wonder if it was in the middle of a snowstorm and, it'd still be quite a long ride to get into the next biggest town. And, you know, I'm 2 miles from a major hospital now. It's like, am I going to make it there? It's 2 miles. Like, life is short, everybody. Enjoy every day. And I have a lot to live for now because I have that first YouTube check coming. Well, the first one since remonetization. Just to be clear, I have that coming May 21st. Okay, Subrock, I love your lives. It makes me feel like I'm talking to friends, especially when I am in bed sick. Yes. Well, you are a friend, Sue. Everybody here is my friend, except for some of these knuckleheads that come in that we have to take them out because they said something naughty. But today, the hostess, me, said something naughty. Um, and it wasn't intentional. It just, it was a slip of the tongue. Um, Jay, my professor, science teacher in high school, said I had tachycardia when we studied biology. I was told in high school by my biology teacher that my blood pressure was too low and that I wouldn't be able to donate blood if I ever needed to donate blood. And then in my 20s, I was diagnosed with a immune condition, and they said, don't ever donate blood because we don't understand what it is. It was CFS, which they now call ME/CFS, and but I recovered. The 30s were not perfect medical wise, but better than my 20s. And then in the 40s, instead of having low blood pressure, I had a bit high blood pressure. Uh, and then by the time I was 50, it all just gone to hell in a handbag. Um, yeah, but just take care of yourself, everybody. Jet Set says, yeah, here in Seattle, I'm not far from a regional trauma center. Good. That's very good. I'm not far from the hospital where John Ritter and Alan Thicke, where they both passed from their heart ailments. And they probably passed in the cath room, in the cath lab, because it's separate than the regular operating rooms. They have a special, like, operating room for the heart stuff, and it's called a cath lab. So every time I go on that table, I'm like, whoa, was John Ritter on this same table? Was Alan Thicke on this table? Like, but there's also a lot of famous people born there. Um, Sue says, I have fibromyalgia and CFS. Flares are so hard to protect. Exactly. I'm just tired from all the treatment, all the BS, and all the medication. Exactly, Jet Set. Let's be positive about this. Sounds like we're a bunch of tough cookies here in this chat. Absolutely. And if I hadn't have made it through all this that, has happened in my life, I wouldn't have been here to meet all you guys. You guys, you're coming into my living room every day. I wasn't expecting to be going live almost every day, and I won't be able to keep up that pace forever, because life happens. But I didn't expect that it was going to go that long. Like, where were we yesterday? Were we at day number 68 yesterday for Nancy? Let me look. Yesterday was, yeah, day 68 was yesterday. So today is day number 69 in the Guthrie case. Like, and I've been watching the news today just to see if anything new is popping up, but everybody's just on hold because they're waiting for this magic DNA that, may never come. Let me get back to the live over here. Goal achieved. Yeah, that was like in the first 7 minutes of the show. Why is it telling me to start it again? Oh, I'm doing it on my phone, so that's why the picture's shaking. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go off, but because I want to watch the astronauts come in, but it's telling me to set a goal. But I'm paranoid that when the goal ends, like, can people still like donate? And according to some of my mods, they can. Um, we need more friends like Serap, right? Oh gosh, this is crazy. Yeah, I'm worried about my friend Kel. I hope she's okay with the sugar issue. Yeah, that can put a lot of pressure on the mind, when the sugar's not right. I remember when I had my heart problem and I was trying to cook macaroni and cheese, which I hadn't eaten for years, and I couldn't boil the water. And I was like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And then the next day I ended up in the hospital for like a very, very long time. And they had to take me right out of the urgent care in an ambulance. And it was the first hospital visit of 17. And I don't want to even think about it right now because this is my birthday weekend. I'm very fortunate for my husband who will do everything if needed and doesn't complain. You are very fortunate because I am single at the moment, Sue, and have been for quite a while because I've just been, so busy fighting for my life the last several years. And I enjoy my independence. But like I said, the bunny and the cat cannot call 911. So I can't even imagine what it would be like to be a Duggar and there's like 19 kids and we've had two guesses here today that there's 40 grandkids at least or there's 33. Do we know the true numbers on that? How many Duggar grandkids? They're having so many babies. It changes, probably every week or so. Oh my gosh! And if those kids are in the IBLP, some of those Duggar grandkids that are girls, you know, they'll probably be starting their own families very young. I think I would go in a nursing home otherwise. Oh, geez. Well, thank God you don't have to do that, Sue. Yeah, a nurse said that to me once in the hospital when I was having the heart problem really bad before I had my surgery. And she said, "Oh, you may just have to surrender your pets and go into a nursing home." Like, on a Social Security disability income? Like, who's going to pay for that? 41, according to YouTube. Wow. Oh my gosh. And you know what? It's crossed my mind now that the Caldwell children, well, the Duggar grandkids, Kendra Caldwell and Joseph Duggar's children, um, they're in foster care right now, and I don't know if they're all together or they've been separated because apparently the Caldwells haven't taken them, and the Duggar, Michelle and Jim Bob haven't taken them, and I don't think they would be safe in any home where there are Duggar boys or Duggar men. I wonder how many. This is interesting. Do you think that there's going to be more Duggar boys that are going to be arrested or charged with, or arrested and charged with these SA crimes that the Duggar parents refer to as sins? And then they go out and you're going to go out and build a barn, or you're going to go to this alert academy, and then you're going to come back and you're going to be on fire about God, and you're going to be cured of your sins. Unbelievable. And I thought the Goslings had problems. You know, they've actually all turned out really well, considering the way that mother is. Yeah, apparently she's had to go back to her nursing job. I just don't care for her. I always felt kind of bad for the kids in that situation, especially poor Colin. Um, Jay says, to me, a nursing home would be life over, except for the fact that I would see more people. I would probably make door visits every day. Well, in nursing homes, though, I know a celebrity out here, and I'm not going to name her. Um, she's a close neighbor, let's just say, and she's enormously famous. And her boyfriend had to go into a nursing home a few years ago, and around the time that COVID had hit, and he got it 3 times, and the third time it took him out. Um, it's sort of a one-way ticket, because you're going to get the flu or pneumonia or COVID and they kind of want that, like to make your bed available for the next. LCW82, they gave Kendra the choice to let her parents take custody of the children or foster care, and she refused to let her parents, according to reports. I've heard that true, LC. Um, Remember, she's kicking her parents out of the house that her and Joseph gifted to her parents. Because apparently her dad, he's a pastor and he had his own church, but I guess Jim Bob Duggar was talking garbage about him, and he lost his church. He lost his congregation or something. And he doesn't have like a job. And so Joseph gifted her parents and their other children a house. But now, they've got this $600,000 bail, and, they only had to pay 10% as long as he doesn't run. But $60,000 is a lot of money, not for Jim Bob, but, for Joseph and Kendra. And I'm not sure who actually put the down payment on that with the bail bondsman. Um, and, their own house may be uninhabitable if it's what I'm hearing. Like, there's a lot of problems. Oh my God. Where you been, buddy? Everybody, welcome in. This is my new friend from Tel Aviv. Thank you so much, sir. Is it syrup or is it syrup? One for syrup and two for syrup. This is crazy, my friend. Yeah, were you gone for the most of the chat? We were talking about the Duggars, and then we talked about the Goslings for a little bit, and Saraf like Saraf. Sarap. I'm gonna have to look that up. Yeah, I like his name too, Jet Set. I think it's something to do with the type of music or a musical group. Okay. I'll have to do a little research on that. I want to know more about you, my friend. Oh, you have music? Oh, wow. What kind of music? Do you have a YouTube channel? And we can go all listen to them? I know you're a male. And you were the one that sent the birthday PayPal. Thank you so much. Uh, what do we want to know? Well, and you don't have to get personal here if you don't want to. You can always email me. But Sarab, I know. Are you from Israel? Or are you simply just like living there because of like your music or your work or LCW? Kate is evil and cruel when she put Colin through is messed up. Absolutely. And allegedly, she dipped into. We were talking about how the Duggars, like Jim Bob, stole all the money from the Duggar kids from the TV show. But Kate and John, or at least Kate, she set up accounts for all her kids. But when she had her son put into a mental hospital for over 3 years, and her own ex-husband didn't know where he was located, she was dipping into Colin's funds apparently. Mm. Okay, so Rob says, I do music as a hobby, some art, some satire. I am a man indeed. We knew that. We knew you were a man and that you lived in Israel. And you are Israeli indeed, born and raised. So you do music for a hobby. Are you young or old? Like, are you young and you have employment, or are you like an elder and retired? And you don't have to say your age, because I'm old as dirt now, so I'm no longer saying my age. LCW, I know the court made her set up those bank accounts for the children. Yes. And apparently she may have allegedly stolen from one. Oh, you're only 35. You're just a baby. You could be my son. Nice to see some younger people coming in here. As long as you're 18 or older, everybody is welcome in here. And we're getting ready for the Artemis too is going to land today off the coast of San Diego. And I've been wondering about like the ocean currents, because apparently we have these big storms coming to California, but there's not been a drop thus far. So hopefully, I know right now it's sunny here. So in San Diego's about 2.5 hours south, and they're going to splash down off the coast of San Diego by five, well, California time. Yep, just a baby, my daughter's age. That's interesting. So you are 35, and you are Israeli born and raised. You do music as a hobby and some art. I have no artistic talent whatsoever. Some satire, and we already knew you were a man. Jet Set says, your daughter is 53. Wow. We already know that Serap is like me as far as he must have a hard time sleeping, because sometimes, a lot of times when I'm on, it's the middle of the night there. Good night or good morning to you, Sarap. Thank you, my friend. Make sure you come into the birthday party on Sunday. It'll be your Monday there, but it'll be Sunday here. I think it's like a 10-hour time difference. Indeed, I never sleep. I am Batman. I did a lot of work with Batman. That's all I can say. For real. A lot. A ton. That's one of my career highlights is my work with Batman. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, everybody, let's give Sarap, and I don't know, Sarap. I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it right, and I want to be able to check out your music, man. I don't know if you're still here, but oh, hello from Egypt, 521. I didn't see you come in. Everybody, welcome 521. He's here from Egypt. We have so many countries now, and I'll say it again. These are the ones I just know about because a lot of people listen and they don't actually chat or say where they're from. So we have the United States, Canada, the UK, to include England, Wales, and Scotland that have just come in the last few days. We have Ireland, Germany, Brazil, India, Egypt, Syria, Iran, Australia, New Zealand. Like, are there any other countries that have come in that I don't know about yet? Somebody joked last night we need to make a map. Yeah, I had the same thing happen last night that happened the night before. I fell asleep unusually early for me. It wouldn't be early for other people, but it was early for me. And then I only slept a few hours. And then I've been having like very bizarre dreams. And this has been going on since my cancer, where I have the most bizarre dreams and it's very stressful. And then I wake up from it and then I'm like, oh, it was just a dream. Like I'm almost having a heart attack. Like, oh geez, that was just a dream. Like, oh, okay, let's go back to sleep. And then I'm like, well, now that I'm awake, let me get up and I'll pee and then I'll go back to bed. And then before you know it, it's now it's 5 a.m. or 6 in the morning, and it's like, oh no, the sun will be rising. Yes, it's probably the medication. Could be the heart drugs because it's just the dreams are kicking me in the butt. It's like my brain is just not right. Something's wrong when I'm sleeping, and the problems in the dreams they just never get solved. Oh, we've had some people from Iran come in, but I don't remember their usernames. At least people claiming that they were in Iran. I wasn't even aware that they could get internet there or partake in social media. Because I know there's a lot of big portion of China that they can't go on the net. Oh, we've had Tokyo, Japan came in here the other night too. Japan, yeah. I can't forget my friends in Japan. This is crazy. Oh, wow. I'm glad to see you here because I got your message earlier, Jay, that you weren't feeling so good today. So don't feel like you have to be here. You can always you can always watch us later when you feel better. Yeah, they just have like a still photo up on the NASA site. I guess they can't have a camera following it. But I did see some video where it shows like the stars and you just see this little dot and it's just like it's just zipping through space. I mean, they're going like at 40,000 kilometers speed wise for reentry. Like, these astronauts would have to be in better condition, or as good of condition as a professional athlete, like a race car driver, to be able to take that type of stress on the body. These have got to be the people that are at the very, very peak of their health, or they wouldn't survive these missions. That's why you don't see like elderly astronauts, it's younger people. And they got to have a lot of education, and most of them are also pilots, and you know, wow. I know that the friend that I had whose dad was a very famous shuttle astronaut, his dad was in the Navy before he worked at NASA, and he was a trained pilot with the Navy. These guys have very interesting backgrounds. There's a lady up there too, but I don't know much about. I know one of the guys is Canadian, and I think he's a widow with a couple of kids. And then there's 3 Americans, including a female, and she's been the mission plumber. I don't know if they're still wearing the space diapers or not, or if they fixed that problem. Oh, those poor astronauts. And to think that they're gonna splash down in the ocean, and then, they're gonna have to get picked up and put onto a warship, which is cool. I like the ship aspect of it because I grew up in, my family, my dad built the submarines for the Navy and the warships for the United States and for for the country of Canada. So it's kind of cool to see. There's a big Navy presence and Marine presence in San Diego, and some of the ships that are out there, um, they've all come from the port of San Diego. Oh, feels like I'm getting stabbed from stomach from inside out. Ate 1 egg and 1 sausage patty and a Coke for breakfast. Doesn't usually do that to me. Well, go take care of yourself. Yeah, and if the pain doesn't go away, you might want to call the doctor. Yeah, Sue just said that. Jay, you should get looked at just to make sure. Just to make sure that you don't have an ulcer or like a gallstone, or even a kidney stone can cause weird pain like that, or make sure that your heart is, that your blood pressure is okay and your pulse rate is okay and you're breathing. But if it keeps persisting, you can always go to an emergency room and get it scanned. I should have known that before my cancer. I should have gone and just said, you know what, screw all these doctors that are not helping me. And I should have just gone and I should have just checked myself into an emergency room and told them, you know what, I'm not leaving. There's something majorly wrong with me. I feel like I'm dying, and you need to find out what it is. And then, I could have had my cancer treatment start a lot sooner. I mean, I know we're all on borrowed time here, but let's stay healthy while we're here. And if any of you guys, you're feeling like, why me and why am I so sick all the time? You are not alone. Did the Pepto help, Jay? I've had that stabbing pain before when I had a food poisoning once. And then I was like, "What is going on?" And I had been on surveillance all day. That was really heavy duty. And then I finally, like, went home, then went out in the field again, and then I left. And I was just like, I came home and I was like, "This is so bad." I was The pain was so bad. I was jumping up and down. I couldn't like lay down in the bed. I was jumping up and down, and I thought, if something doesn't happen quick, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. It was the worst ever. And then I became violently ill, and it took all the strength I had to get off the bathroom floor and get to my bed. And then I remember thinking, I feel like I'm gonna pass out, and then the next thing I knew, it was like 10 or 12 hours later, and I was, like, coming to, like, it was just a vicious case of food poisoning. If I still feel bad tomorrow, I will. Gallbladder during COVID, diagnosed over video call with doctor. She said, get to ER now. Oh, did you have your gallbladder removed? Um, After working with doctors for 40 years, you know they aren't as smart as you think. I felt like death for years and they just rolled their eyes at me. Yeah, my heart guy, who's one of the best cardiologists, specialized cardiologist, he's an electrophysiologist, cardiologist. He claims that, even though my heart is still not beating properly, that it's okay and that it's not my heart that's making me feel this bad. Well, I beg to differ. And then I realized, well, that dude doesn't have ME/CFS and he hasn't been through stage 3 breast cancer and he hasn't had one of his body parts removed. Um, you know, but men just hormonally are completely different than women. So it seems like women have it a lot tougher. Men die sooner because they have a reluctance to see a doctor. Um, they kind of wait too long sometimes. That's what statistics say, that they live shorter lives just because of their reluctance to go to the doctor. But um, I think men have it a lot easier medical wise. I would just like to have the strength to walk around, without having to use a cane because of my weakness. But yeah, if that doesn't feel better tomorrow, you need to go get it looked at. I'm surprised you're even here considering how bad you felt today. Don't disregard your own health, just to watch my show. You can always watch it when you feel better, whether that's tomorrow or a week from now. How many of you guys are going to turn on the TV soon or the internet, like YouTube? Because I'm watching on YouTube on the big screen in front of me. Well, it's like this big, but bigger than my phone and my iPad. Um, who's going to watch the moon landing? Okay, NASA just put up, I'm watching this through CNN on YouTube. It says live event starts soon. So they're going to start reporting on this. Oh, you have it on? Yeah, I've had it on since before I came live here. Oh, wow. We met the super chat goal and then I get 5 more because Sarap came back in. That's crazy. And then yesterday when I got off, I had my first Amazon wish list gift. Like, I didn't expect that I just did it because Trisha, one of the mods in here, was like, you need to set that up. So next time she comes in here, remind me to talk to her about that. I have a question about that. And I could call Amazon, but I haven't had time. I'm still trying to get the paperwork now between the cardiologist and the dentist so that I can call the dentist because I'm sure he's getting further and further backed up with his sister being in Thailand for 3 weeks. She's the co-dentist in his office. Like, I need to get in and get this second, part 2 done. I did part 1 on Wednesday, but now I got to go in for part 2. But I got to have clearance from a cardiologist. That's how serious, like, my heart ailment is and the medications that I take, because they want to know what anesthetic to use, um, to at least do a filling, and what anesthetic they could use if it ends up in the future being a root canal. And it's like, I know that the cardiologist, they have the paperwork now that I sent them, and the assistant has it, but how soon is it going to get to the dentist? When is somebody going to tell me that it got to the dentist? I want to actually see a copy of it so I know what I'm allowed to have and not have. I need a copy for my records too. And, I never thought I'd have to worry about just going and have a filling replaced. So, Rob, you're still here. I thought you went back to bed, my friend. No, I didn't forget. That's crazy. Are you going to watch the Artemis 2 landing, Sirop? According to NASA, they're flashing across the TV screen right now. It says live event starts soon. And that's happening right here in California. Now, where I am in Los Angeles, I shouldn't be able to hear the sonic boom. Oh, oh yeah, there's a minute and 21 seconds. You know, after the last goal, I didn't even think to like reset it. Artemis 2 is the spaceship that's going around the moon, and they're coming back into Earth's atmosphere, and they're going to land in the Pacific Ocean just off the coast of San Diego, California this afternoon. And it's the most dangerous time of the mission, other than the liftoff, is when they re-enter the atmosphere. And more of the pieces of the craft will discard themselves into the ocean. And the atmosphere itself, the heaviness of the atmosphere, will slow it down from 40,000 kilometers per hour to about 300 miles per hour. And at that point, the parachutes will start to deploy. Sarah! Yeah, I don't believe we ever landed on the moon. You know, I think that we did, but now I have questions, but I still think that we did. I mean, you see the flag and the moon lander or whatever they call it sitting on the moon. You have both screens up now on phones. And they just showed a splashdown from December 19th, 19th. Oh, the goal! I almost missed it, Sarah. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever had 20 super chats in a live. And it's not even my birthday show yet. That's Sunday the 12th. And it's 10 hours ahead for you, so is it like 1:34 in the morning there, Sarah? Yeah, if you just go on to like YouTube and click CNN, and you should be able to watch it, Sarah, because we want to see the let's just pray, everybody. We're going to get ready to go, but everybody just say a prayer for the astronauts, um, that they're going to make it in safely. One of these guys, the Canadian astronaut, he is a single father, a widowed with two children, I think possibly two girls. That's all they have, is their dad. So let's pray that they all make it back safely. What doesn't make sense, Sarah? You have lags in YouTube in 2026, but we managed to stream the moon landing, then whole world without issues in 1969. I know. That's so true. We have lags in YouTube videos in 2026, but we managed to stream the moon landing to the whole world without issues in 1969. Well, when they started the shuttle program, they had to start sending the video footage by delayed signal, Syrup. That's true. Because there's been some things that have been caught on video that weren't supposed to be shown on television. So when you watch, the space shuttle is now retired, but the space shuttle signal uh, was not live like you think it was because of things that are out there. And they've also had to change the way they broadcast their radio signals because ham radio operators picked up a female shuttle astronaut um, saying in the morning rundown that they were still being followed by the aliens. And it got recorded. So, oops. So I wonder here, too, are we, anything they're showing, is it live or is it like a little bit delay? Um, but let's just pray for the astronauts that they land safely. Okay. It's called Entry, Descent, and Landing. The chutes should deploy at 22,000 feet and then 6,800 or 5,600 to 6,800 feet and then 5,000 feet. So there's 3 parachutes. Then there will be splashdown. The main parachute will be cut and the Orion crew module uprighting system deploys and then recovery. Let's hope so. The module coming through the atmosphere is the most intense part. Well, that's because Challenger, that was on the ground. That wasn't like they weren't actually in space yet. Yeah, I missed it by a few minutes, Jay. Well, I'm going to say goodbye. And oh, the animals are sound asleep now. Thank you, Surat, my friend. Not necessary to come in. Um, I wish they had landed on the moon. I think they still need to go back and land on the moon again. I think there are going to be further moon missions. I'd really like to see the pictures and the video from the back side of the moon, if you know what I'm saying. Well, they call it the dark side of the moon. Good night, Sarup. Good night, Jay. Good night, everybody. There's 9 people left in here. Everybody give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Make sure you click that bell notification. And I'm not sure about tomorrow if I'm going to do a live, but I'll hopefully be doing a live on Sunday, April 12th. Thank you so much. I love you all.